Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Fields here, along with Rogan Smith, provider of pancakes and waffles, and
that's how I roll.
That's how you roll. And Candelaria Sumner, the non-provider of curry. So it's one has a provision, one has a thing, and then you get these like excuses like we run out of curry powder. No, we haven't. The world,
one I didn't accept.
The world is not. There's no curry powder shortage.
No one remembered to say, hey, bring the curry powder when you come. When you come home,
I thought because that's not our department. Our department is to eat it.
Just to eat it.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a lousy excuse. There's no shortage. Last time I look on the New York Stock Exchange, there's no shortage.
But she said
of
she
curry
gets.
But I don't
powder.
get my powder from the regular
There's no
food
shortage
store.
of curry powder in Jamaica, that's for sure.
Yeah, but who will bring it?
Well, I don't get. That's not our concern once again.
But see, it wouldn't taste the same because the curry that you've become accustomed to is because of the Jamaican powder.
I agree, but I'm saying there's
Don't
no
worry,
shortage
we'll get
of
it.
that
We can
supply.
get it together.
Get it together.
Get
This
it
is 2 weeks in a row now. What next
Yeah,
week?
that's true.
Next
Come
week.
back strong
Next week it
next
could be
week.
we run out of pot. Come on.
Oh,
Okay?
I'm not here next week, so that's
What?
You see that? Well, in that case, you better have it shipped. Okay. All right.
That's true. I should have it
We
delivered.
run out of gas.
I'll have it delivered.
Okay. It's always an excuse. Anyway. And so, first of all, Rogan Smith, I hope things go well with your stepfather.
Thank you.
What's his name?
Wesley.
Wesley. That's Illy's husband. How's Illy?
She's good.
holding
She said
together?
to tell you thank you for your kind words and everything.
That's my job.
She said, she said tell you. She specifically told me to say tell you thank you for that.
Yeah. We're from the same state, Illinois. So anyways,
He's so silly.
yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
So having said that, when the things?
Pancakes?
The flapjacks.
They downstairs. I can get them on the break.
All right. Now listen.
And waffles.
You got the maple syrup? Because
Yes,
I don't go with
I
that.
do. Yeah, I don't like it
Because
just
I don't go with
without
that. Aunt Jemima, she okay for the pancake, but her syrup
It's
ain't.
in the waffle maker downstairs.
Good.
So
Good,
it'll
good.
be hot.
So they're called waffle
And bacon.
pancakes?
No,
I don't want no bacon.
I do waffles and pancakes. You
Jemima,
don't want no bacon? What you eat with this?
I
Just
eat
it.
what Jemima cook. Pancake and waffle. I don't fool with no.
You don't want the bacon?
Yeah, I never see no Aunt Jemima bacon.
No, with bacon on the side.
Listen.
What?
Listen to me and listen to me carefully, okay? When you go to the store, the bottle shaped like the woman,
Yeah.
that ain't even in the bacon section.
What you talking
I just
about?
want the pancakes from
Okay,
you.
that's fine. But
I
some
don't
people
trust-
don't want to just eat
Oh,
that.
no. I know you're the aficionado of pancakes. That's what I'm eating from you. If I want bacon, I go to Jim and Dane. Okay?
And the sausage.
And the sausage. I'm a brand Oscar Mayer. I'm a brand name man. I don't fool around. No, you cross it over.
Oh, you're so
You expect me to
silly.
get pancake from Jimmy Dane?
if they start selling it, you wouldn't buy it?
No.
You crazy.
No. Now, if he was saying Jimmy Dean sausage featuring Aunt Jemima pancakes, yeah. Okay?
Oh,
Candy.
you're so silly.
Hey.
Hey, Candy.
I'm not talking to you.
This feels so weird sitting in the middle
Yes.
here. I think I
You
only
gotta
sat
swing
here
left and
the
right.
first year.
Uh-huh.
The first year, and I was like, oh, I got to get away from this man.
Oh, I think I might like
But now
this
you want to come
now.
back now.
No,
I
she,
think
she
so.
forced
You want to
me in
come
the
back to
middle.
Jamaica?
I tell her, come out my seat. She said, no, she's
I
sitting
like
there.
this because I could see everybody and I don't have to do all kind of
I know.
maneuvering.
Now I understand how the guest feels when they're doing this back and forth thing.
I might steal your seat.
Get on over that. Get from around here.
Well, I
come
tell you
early.
one thing, and I'm going to make it very clear to both of you. There will be no stealing of anything until the curry or the pancakes get up in the house.
The pancakes are
By
downstairs.
the way, that sounds good.
There'll be
Curry
no
and
Curry
pancake?
and pancakes,
No.
yes,
No.
man. Yes, you get the
No,
listen,
no bueno.
you get the pancake,
No bueno.
right?
That
And then you
sauce can
and then you
soak
put
up
the
on the
soak
pan-
on the
Ew.
pancake bread. Yeah,
That's so
man.
nasty.
I can make
The
that.
belly yucca right there.
I can make that.
You should
Yeah.
open up
Or
your
take the
curry.
meat
You know, they
off
have
the
chicken and
bone
waffles,
then
which I
put
hate.
it on the pancake.
Yeah, I'm feeling
Ed?
that.
Huh?
Take the meat from off the chicken bone and then put it on
No,
the pancake.
just scoop up the chicken, the juice, and put it on the pancake and eat that like rice.
Look at Rogan.
It's like one big rice.
That's so nasty.
Isn't it
I
nasty?
don't like that combo.
Yeah, that's not.
It's
That's
like, you know what
nasty.
it's like? It's like a kind of fluffy roti.
I know you was gonna say
Yeah.
that.
You knew I was going to
Yeah,
say
I knew
that?
you were gonna
No.
say that. I've been hanging with you too
So
long.
you know what you should do? You should branch off. Aunt Jemima roti. You should branch off, you know.
You do it. Don't blame me, huh?
Listen, you look good in the hat.
Say
The
that.
turban.
Listen, the
The
turbine.
No turbine, turban.
It's
What is it? You deliver the diesel and then with a turbine.
Bahamas man.
Turbine.
Yeah.
It's like the what his name is? Nick Cannon.
Oh,
Arabian Nights type
yeah.
situation.
So
how's it going though? I feel like I haven't seen y'all in so long. It's just
you haven't been around. You've been
coming and going,
commiserating and all that sort of thing. So by the way, I did ask you because I just don't know what to ask you, but I know he's in this. Turn off the mic a second, please. Yeah. We was it? Were we on break or are we just doing a break? Okay, we're on a break because I have to clear things with her. This is the kind of garbage I got to go through. Yeah, so he was in ICU at Princess Margaret, which I tell you, man, Princess Margaret is a kind of a Jekyll and Hyde.
Right? That's perfectly stated. That's well stated. Mm-hmm.
Because there's some sections that literally exist in the Jekyll and Hyde era.
Yeah.
Okay? And then there's the critical care, which exists in the Cleveland Clinic era.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's remarkable, the nurses' stations outside and all that.
It's
yeah.
beautiful.
Was that your first time there?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
But it's really beautiful.
All right.
I'm very proud of it. You know, one thing I always say, I don't mind, like when you're talking about taxes, the one thing I always say I don't mind them taxing me for is for the hospital, because you have so many people. Everybody needs to use it at some point, even if you have insurance and tomorrow you lose it. No, it's not free, but still.
Yeah. So I mean, they're now making attempts to do the other sections. Like they have a wonderful imaging section. And they have a wonderful, the interior of the children's ward, not the children's ward, the Corey Noble ward is nice. That's a public ward. But, man. So, what else is happening? You want anything you want to?
No, well, I mean, Carnival is over. People are still talking about it. You didn't go on the line, eh?
No. I let me tell you, I had a wonderful Saturday, but I'll tell you about it later.
No, I didn't. Did you
watch? No, I didn't go near.
And Kendrick, you didn't go out there, right?
No, we're not.
Well, I was at the Long Island
What do you call it?
Huh? That none of y'all came to visit me yet.
Listen, man.
You had a booth?
What's that?
You had a booth out there?
Yes, cake stall, child.
You ain't telling
every
me that.
year. I was selling cake.
I ain't got to get no money.
Not a text message was sent.
No,
I support
that's true. Yeah.
No, I didn't know.
I ain't into mutton like that.
And I'm from Long Island.
You like mutton, Ed.
I ain't into mutton like that.
Who doesn't like mutton?
I like mutton, but I ain't into mutton like that.
Boy, the mutton was good.
Not like that.
Y'all
have any curry down there?
I don't know. They might have had curry. They might have had curry mutton.
See? I'm not big on the curry mutton. I like curry chicken.
Oh, no. I think curry mutton tastes way better than curry chicken.
Good.
No, boy.
I only just coming around to curry chicken.
Yeah, well, that's up to you.
Somebody make that good. No, you need to have somebody make that for you.
I'm not into Fairs now. They're just like, when you're a kid.
Curry mutton now.
Yeah, but when you're a kid, you just, you go to Fairs and it's like, they're like wonderful. But now they're like, what is this all about?
I just go to get the food.
It's just a bunch of tents.
Yeah, you go to support.
Where was it?
It was on Montague.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I moved to Montague?
Yeah, lovely.
Well, that makes more sense for the Long Island people because they like being near the water.
Yeah, I like that.
They like racing and sloop. Y'all have any sloop?
No.
So they like their pies.
Oh, yeah?
Down there in Long Island.
What are you talking about?
Don't Long Island people eat pies?
They
like pies, like pastries, sweets.
Like coconut tart, Nick?
Coconut tart. Lemon meringue pie.
Oh, I can't stand that.
No.
Oh, I love lemon meringue pie.
Oh my God, it makes my stomach turn.
I don't like it.
But I like key lime.
But we had so much nice stuff we had potato bread at the cake stall, banana bread. We had cassava bread.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've never had cassava bread.
You know what's interesting about the islands?
Yeah, tell me what about that.
They make you feel so like you need to come there, and when you go there, it's the same old stuff.
Coconut cake.
No matter where you go, it's the tart, the bread.
Coconut cake.
You had any crab and rice?
Benny cake. Ugh.
I don't think they had crab and rice. The crab and rice, that's on.
Y'all just eat mutton.
No sides. It's just the mutton.
Oh, boy. Anyway, it just has no kind of, I'm sorry to the Long Island people that I know.
But you come in next
and
year,
of
just
course,
to say hi.
Did you see a lot of people, and we're not going to say what it is. She and I have an inside thing. Did you see a lot of people who made the transition?
Ooh, no, I feel left
I can let you go to break. Okay? Yeah, so we're, the big news, a lot of news going on, all kinds of news. Before we get to Carnival, because our guest is Carnival, Dario Torelli. You're smelling the mic? Okay, good. Well, I wouldn't smell that cover, because that's full of spit. I might as well be honest with you.
Do you spit on your? I don't spit on.
But people just naturally, yeah. So, your boy Trump, you weren't here. He's just like not going with the rules. You know, subpoena. I'm not going for that.
Does he ever?
You know, I mean, how do you not go with a subpoena? His day coming. I mean,
he's Trump.
It's sad because
once he's out of office.
I'm concerned. Not forget about him. Is the impact? You know, you could end up with a civil war over there. You know.
Yeah.
I'm not.
He's already setting the stage for that.
Yeah, because you got the nut.
I don't want to misquote him, but something that he put out today, just letting people know, like, well, you know, this might be close, and you know, be careful about like people trying to like steal the election, that type of thing.
You know, it's sad because I forget who was talking about it, about how far we've come tribally and how the United States is the grand experiment of you know the melting pot and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, basically, it's just hardcore tribalism, man. Hardcore. And at the end of the day, people say, well, why would William Barr do what he did? You know, this is the Attorney General. And, you know, I hate to say, this sounds really bad, and I don't want it to sound bad, but I just think it's about, you know, when you think about, say, and I'm not comparing the two, but I'm using it as an analogy, with, you know, the kind of ridiculous, I don't even know, no, the word isn't ridiculous, horrific things the Nazis did, and you go, well, how could they do that?
Go there. Yeah.
You know, but they did it because they were into their group. Mm-hmm. And no matter how bad it is we do to that other group, it don't matter, it's our group, and we stick it with our people, and that's what it comes down to.
Can you blame them though?
Against what?
No, I'm just saying everybody. It's tribalism
to the point
for
of,
everybody. Not to hurting other people.
Yeah, that's the point.
But I'm just simply saying that's typically how it operates. You know, when people feel as if their numbers are dwindling or they're being
find a way to deal with it.
Or they feel like everything that they believe in.
But you can't go genocide.
No, it's certainly not.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not advocating that either. But I'm just saying that's a natural human response.
I know it's a natural response. But you got to figure that there are ways to deal with it. But I guess when you think about how people used to deal with it, this is mellow stuff. That's what you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If you think about, okay, let's go kill all them now with them. Mm-hmm. This is mellow stuff. So yeah, come back to so I've decided, Rogan Smith, that I've been wasting my life, and because basically when Fridays come, I go to the abode. It's not a word we use often, is it? Abode.
No.
I go to my abode. I like that. I'm going to use that from now on. And or as Bahamians would say,
your house?
Abode.
They don't say that.
Well, they would say it if they saw the word. You going to abode.
That's what you say.
You going on by abode them. So and I just stay there usually for the weekend. And I watch a lot of Game of Thrones. Just saw the new episode.
Oh. Did you see the Starbucks cup that everybody's talking about that was in one of the episodes?
Yeah.
No. It was like a major faux pas.
No, I didn't see it.
Like, big scene, and there's a Starbucks cup inside of it.
You saw that? We have to look that up because I didn't see that.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, look that up, Ken.
I'm telling you.
We have Game of Thrones
people. Go on CNN.
And then I also watch Billions, So what I did this week, I went to, and I'm going to start talking about these places. I decided my daughter and I would spend a day. So at first we had to go look at some property. And then I went to Island Brothers. Have you been to that? It's out west by Lightfoot Key entrance. Lovely little bistro. Mm-hmm. Had an avocado toast. Now, I want to talk about avocado toast for a second. When I first went to school in the States, I became aware of this thing they call guacamole. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what's that? When they showed it to me, I said, oh, you mean pear?
Mash up pear.
Yeah, because when we were growing up, we would mash up the pear.
In your gritty.
No, on the bread, spread on the bread.
I don't eat that.
On the bread. And then even once we used to slice the pear and put it on bread with a little salt.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like pear with salt, but not on bread.
Yeah, I like pear sandwich.
Salt and black pepper.
Pear sandwich. You have a pear sandwich, Ken? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now.
Show him because he always doubts me.
They mush it up.
I didn't doubt you. I just said I didn't see it. Where is it?
Right there.
Oh, okay. That's it. Starbucks on it?
It makes a cameo.
Okay, cameo. They probably put that in there deliberately to see if you have
No, they wouldn't mess up their franchise like that. Not Starbucks, but that Game of Thrones. It's a totally different
thing. They're talking about it.
You're talking about it either way.
No, that's a...
And trust me, it didn't mess up nothing.
But you're right. I don't think you're...
People you know what?
Like, I'm
not watching that anymore. They had the cup in there.
It ain't about them not watching it. It's just they making fun of it. Like, how do you make such a big mistake?
So
I like to look out for stuff like that.
You get pear. I have pear in the yard. You slice up the pear. You put it on the bread. You throw a little salt on it. You eat that. Now they have avocado toast. It's very
so they toast
chic.
the bread and just put
the
avocado
I do, but you know what? I have a lot of pear, like small pear, the little pears.
Right.
But I can never seem to get a pear. I think there's a pear thief.
I was just going to say, can you bring a pear?
I would like to bring a pear, but I can never get a pear.
You could bring pear.
I get pear from other people more than I get pear from me.
They disappear.
That's
a good one, Rogie.
But now, of course, they have, instead of just pear on bread like we eat when you pour, no, they have avocado toast now.
Toast.
Yes, that's toast.
Yes, and that's all the rave.
You have a toast. You slice the avocados.
All the rave.
What's the name of the place?
Island Brothers is very good.
You just need to bougie up anything else.
But it's a toast with a thing. It has a slice of pear. It has an egg with bacon, some cheese, and it's delicious over. What do you call it? What do you call that kind of bread?
Right? It doesn't have the topping.
But this one was no. They had that.
Oy.
They had the avocado with one thing, but they also had mine was with a ciabatta bread.
Yum.
And it was not them hard, but ciabatta.
Yeah, nice and
them soft. When you push it down, your fingerprints is being in.
Fluffy.
It's fluffy or is fluffy?
I guess.
I think anyway, your fingerprints, in the bread.
Oh, this place right here.
Yes, it's very nice, Rogie, and you would like it.
Mm-hmm. I like little places like that.
Yeah.
Where is that?
And then I went shopping. I did a shopping.
You went
at
shopping
Morley's for Men. MFM.
Oh.
So you go there? Ken, I see you have all them little salmon pants and things.
They have some nice little stores out there, Like if you Christmas time.
Yeah.
When I didn't want to be bothered going all the way, with
like
all the
favorite
crowds.
things. Have you been to that?
That's more.
Cable Beach,
more east of out west.
Right,
I go there. And oh Jesus!
I don't have.
It just went out of my head.
Are lovely. I love the architecture.
It just went out of my head.
Where is it?
Damn it!
Is it in the Old Fort?
Yeah, I mean it's up in the same area, right opposite Morley's.
Oh. Maison de Coeur?
Yeah. It's so cute inside there. I love it. Cute. And the lady was really nice.
Yes. So that's where I went.
Well, this free advertising.
And then we'll hit them up. It's coming up to sponsorship time, so we'll hit them that. Maybe I'll give them a combo. Morley's for Men, Kells of Nassau, and Maison de Coeur. Maybe they can get a 2 for 3. Now, then I also went in the evening to see Long Shot with Seth Rogen. And that was hilarious.
I don't find him to be
Let
funny.
me tell you something, man. That movie had me.
You back at the movies?
I go to the movies every week.
I mean, what movies are you finding to watch?
I watched Avengers. I was supposed to tell you that.
I go to the movies.
Because, boy.
I don't go to y'all things. Shower and thing.
No.
Okay?
Listen.
I go to the movies, man. But Seth Rogen, I looked to see if there's a new movie.
Oh, okay.
And this was Long Shot.
What is that about?
It's a comedy.
Okay.
The theory is, the premise is that this woman is she's running for president. She needs a speechwriter.
Oh, yeah. Is that Charlize
Theron?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a love story comedy. Very big laughs. Very big laughs.
Okay,
you went by yourself? No.
Huh? No, I went with Kando.
Oh, with Kando.
Yeah.
Sip Smith Dry Gin. Okay.
And where's that?
Yes, I'm still looking at the thing.
The Brothers?
This food looks nice.
IB, yeah. It's delicious.
Good.
Anyway.
Ooh, look at that.
That's the color pop
Oh,
in
that's
that
nice,
picture.
eh?
That's
Charlie,
the one that
what
my
is
daughter
that?
had that. That's the
that's nice.
the tuna.
Yeah,
The tuna thing. The tuna salad.
I mean, that makes you want to eat.
Can you look at the
makes you wanna
avocado?
eat
Can you look
healthy,
at the
right?
avocado?
Toast?
So I don't know if
that's
you're
what they
aware
have
of this,
it.
but there's under the new Bahamian policy, specialty restaurants can be opened up by non-Bahamians. And as a result, this is what we have. Variety. Instead of...
Variety.
Y'all got any snapper? Okay? Because if you go there and you go and get the avocado toast, some of them, like Tom Bully and them, will say, we better rice.
You better stop here. I'm not
you got rice. I was going to say we had grits.
We better rice. Y'all ain't got no rice. That's all you got? That's all y'all say with that? So yeah, look at avocado toast.
You know, dang, and they don't have a picture. I probably have to go to their Instagram page or something.
In fact, let me tell you how delicious it looked. As we were eating and we saw some other dishes passing.
You stop running out, yeah?
My daughter said, "You know, we got to come back next week, though." Now that's when you know a place is good.
Mm-hmm. What did you say she had?
She had that same thing you showed me.
That's it. Oh, that was all she ate?
Salad, yeah.
Okay.
It's a good thing.
And what you had?
I had a toast on egg with avocado and bacon on a ciabatta.
Ciabatta?
Yes, we don't fool with no purity.
Les entrées.
Yeah. So, hello.
Hi, girlie.
Why are we here?
Look at Sasha Lightborn walking.
Oh, yes.
What's this? I know it's curry chicken.
I don't know what it is,
oh,
but
my
I'm saying,
God,
yes.
you're a woman of your word.
Oh, thank you very
Sasha,
much.
You would know.
Sasha, you kept your word.
Thank you. Thank you. All
Any
blew
more
out.
presents?
You don't bring us no food?
No, man.
You
Sasha.
Bring something up.
Sasha. Love you, girl.
That's really sweet of you. Thank you.
Nice.
And I'll see you for those
I only need
episodes.
the triple extra large shake now. You know, I use one of them. I don't stop.
Espresso then Prosecco.
Island Brothers is really good, by the way.
Yeah.
It is.
Pingsy.
That, she would know.
Yeah. Who, Miss Happy
Because
Foods?
when we do our show on Happy 242.
He was dead right. Bye, Sasha.
All right.
She's a
you
woman of
getting
her
rid of those,
word.
you know, ratty-tatty
white
headphones.
ones?
Would you like to have them?
Not them. Don't give them to her.
Yeah.
You want them, eh?
Oh, I thought she was trying to give you the
No,
right
I
ones.
try to give it Eve.
Exactly. You don't want them.
Yeah, why not?
Put them. All
Oh, just I don't want that. Oh, no, I want that. It look good from the outside.
I know, because I know you. I know you. Why did you just do that?
Right. Well, Candy does that too. She smells things.
Oh, yeah, daughter?
No, huh?
Oh, Candy? I do smell stuff.
She's
Oh, they look so bad.
Yeah, that's why
Like, Shannon, I just trying to hate on me. Like, don't give it to her.
Asking for them, and I'm like,
No,
Dad,
he
you
said I
don't
want
want them. You want them. I
No one
telling
knows
you,
what
you
they're
don't want
talking
them.
They look nasty.
Anyway, so the other thing that happened this weekend was the Carnival. Now, what is right and what is left?
It should say L and R.
Oh, that's smart of you. It's just a matter of where is that.
Oh.
It's always tricky. It's always tricky.
I just throw them on.
Okay, throw them on.
It's like, you know.
So, no, that was
Right, I was just going to say it usually
oh, yes, proper, very
and
good.
see, you got the volume on the side, too.
Yeah,
She got you good ones.
No, right there, yeah.
This is no volume, is it?
It is.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You just click up.
Click?
See, I got to educate you.
All right, so very good. I want to thank Sasha Lightborn from Happy Foods 242, a show that I'll be debuting on shortly, probably for the whole season. And so we'll be there. We'll be cooking a couple of dishes.
I'm surprised. Is this for real? Because Sasha always says she doesn't share food.
No, I don't want to share the food. I can be on the show with her.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I just know she always says she don't
and
share food.
And we'll just cook our different plates.
And
she could cook up late. I could cook.
Way?
And of course, my specialty is avocado toast. So anyway. So the other thing that happened this weekend, and we're going to have our guest on, Dario Torelli, after we talk to Candy, is about Carnival. And let me tell you, let me go a little me too on ya. There was some serious gals out there. You know what I'm saying?
What that mean?
Popping fresh dough.
What that mean?
I don't know.
Oh.
You know?
The Brick House Special. Oh. Hey.
Let the Brick House Special shine its ever-loving light on you. That was a thing from the Midnight Special you would remember.
No, I
But
wouldn't.
no, they had, let me tell you, I think people, they waking out for that, man.
Let me tell
Now,
you
some people,
they ain't waking out nothing.
they just go with hot air balloon like type look. Other people, they waking out. They got, so you got your tights and you got your socks.
Hot air balloon type.
They can float up any minute.
I got a visual. Let me just, they have classes. Mm-hmm. My niece teaches a class.
Carnival class?
Yeah, to get you in shape, boy. If I find that video for you, I didn't remove my Instagram thing, but they are serious about this when Carnival time is coming. They get the rock hard abs. They get everything tight and
I think they're getting
right.
some. I think they're getting some boob jobs. You think so?
Boob
Would you say?
Yeah, and a mouth like what surgery you mean?
I think so. I think there's some surgicals because it's a lot of.
I'm sure that there's.
Wait, you
no
getting
motion.
a boob job just for?
I don't know if
No,
it's just
not
for that.
just
I think
for
they're
that.
doing that
Just-
period. But they kind of see when you get a boob job.
People going for the perfect body.
When you get a boob job, I can tell you what you're getting a boob job automatically for. You can show them. See, you can't get a
You
boob
ain't getting
job.
a boob to hide it.
No.
Yeah.
That's mine. It's mines. You can't, because otherwise, well, I guess you can get them, quote unquote, for your man. But the point,
or for yourself to be a little bit more confident.
Yeah, but you need to show the confidence. You see, when it's like when you get people they get in shape.
If you get
they immediately go to that muscle shape.
Yeah, you're wearing a little mirror.
Yeah, they get the tight shape. All of a sudden they go into tight shape.
You always hear people who hating on other people, but you would probably do the same thing if your body was. Yeah, I always say that too.
Yeah, that's true.
The only thing you don't see that for is your brothers who get the penile implants. You don't really see no tight pants with that. But the girls with the, as we used to say when we were growing up, the bazooms, and now of course they're dealing with derrieres.
Well, that's next level foolishness.
I don't understand
that. That's common now.
A lot of people doing that.
When I go to Atlantis and you walking through the area where they have the what you call that, the little chair?
Yeah,
like
the throne.
The throne. Yeah. I mean, there's always people. It's a big fixture. People just go there. They want to take photos. I always see these girls with the lopsided
butts
implants, and it's so obvious because the legs are like this big.
The legs it's not proportionate. The amount of backside.
Then the bungie is like that.
Yeah.
They don't look right.
Well, like I say, I saw some sites on the Facebooks. And I got to get y'all to help me on this Instagram thing because I saw some people, man. You can't move, eh? I don't think you can move, man, because if you move, that what you call it, pasty move, that'll slide right off.
I don't like when they're running out.
It's like a bra covering that kind of goes, but any little shift.
Wire, and
you think they glue that? It's a lot of glue.
Yeah, man, you gotta.
But I'm sure they have accidents. You have to constantly be adjusting.
Some gorilla glue.
You have to.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break. We're going to talk with Candy when we come back. Then after that, we have Dario Torelli, who is, I think, the carnivalista. So we'll talk with him, and we'll see what goes on. He'll hopefully be here very shortly. We'll be right back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Fields here, along with Rogan Smith and Candelaria Thompson. Hey, Candelaria Thompson.
Hi. I'm trying. Anyway, I could talk. I hear you. I hear you. That's good for you. Yeah. Well, I had a great weekend.
Yeah. What did
Thanks for asking it.
No, I swear I was gonna say how was your weekend. But we didn't know you made with the Long Island.
Yes, I worked I was at the Long Island Association Fair. Yeah. So.
Well, Candy, she needed to ask no question. She asked the question. I
asked and answer myself.
Well, my topic today.
Okay.
That's good to see you again.
That's good. Well, yeah. Oh, thank you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I wanted to discuss this situation with the athlete, the South African female athlete, Caster Semenya.
Caster Semenya.
Semenya. Now, I don't know her first name, but she goes as Caster Semenya. I guess for those who don't know who she is, she's a South African athlete. She's a Olympic gold medalist, a middle distance runner. So she runs like the 800 and the 1500 meters, and she's dominating.
But she looks very male.
Right. So she has a condition that they call, let me get this right. You don't want to mispronounce things and sound silly. Hyperandrogenism, which is she's female. She has a female body, but has high levels of the male sex hormone testosterone. She has high levels of testosterone, and so.
Would you say like 3 times the amount?
Yeah, something like that. But this is something that occurs naturally.
Right.
Now, there's been some, debate. People think that she is transgender, but she's not. They, I think she more identifies as intersex.
Okay.
Intersex. And so basically, the highest court in the athletic world passed a ruling.
Yes.
That because she competes with women, because she's a woman, she's lived her life as a woman, She just happens to have very high levels of testosterone.
Does she win every?
She is dominating.
It's crazy.
She's dominating. She's just that good.
Mm-hmm.
She's that good. And so the court, the highest court in the athletic world, passed the ruling saying that you have to have a certain level of testosterone to compete in the women as a woman. And because she doesn't meet that, and she feels as if, the IAAF is kind of gearing this at her
Targeting
specifically.
her.
Yeah, targeting her specifically, because she is. I mean, she's good, but so in order for her to continue to compete,
she has to take drugs.
She has to take medication to lower her testosterone levels.
Does that then exclude her? I mean, how does that work? Because then you have it'll just be allowed.
I mean, in this case, I guess they're allowing it.
Right.
But she doesn't want to do that.
No, because how is it that you are kind of penalizing me for something that occurs naturally that I have no control over?
Ooh, that's a tough
and
one.
you know what is and I saw an article about Castor too, in comparison with like somebody like Michael Phelps, right? Michael Phelps, who is a freak of nature when it comes to swimming, he is just, there are certain things that he has
long arms, things like that,
that is naturally occurring to him that gives him an advantage over his competitors. But everybody's just clapping their hands and praising him for these different differences that he has.
It's a little, I think. I don't know. Listen, everything is not black and white, right? But,
there's a couple of things that Michael has going on that I wanted to find that article that he has very special to him.
But guess what? But still, what's happening is he's getting beat. He's beatable. Okay,
she's not won everything either.
Oh, I don't know. She's won by about 10 yards.
She got a bronze in the 1500. Okay. And things like so. So she's not winning every single. Okay. Yeah. But she is dominating.
This is a tough
Just
call.
Like Michael Phelps, he's dominating. He didn't win everything, but
this is a tough one because it's like you say, and as it's been stated, this isn't something that she's doing that is giving her the competitive advantage.
Right.
It's something that's naturally occurring inside of her body, in addition to her training and that sort of thing. At the same time, is it a fair thing for the other female competitors who don't have this extra kick of testosterone?
If they took it, they would be banned.
Yeah.
If they took it, unnaturally, they would get banned.
This is so tough. I know she appealed in court and she lost. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's the next.
She has to figure out how to move forward with this career.
Ooh, this is I wouldn't want to be a judge. We're just gonna say, Ken.
But there's also some health complications as if she takes these drugs
drugs.
Right. There are some serious side effects to the
kidding?
drugs. Yeah. There could be some lifelong damages to her body.
Yeah.
This is so tough. I would not want to be a judge. I mean, they've already made their determination. I'd love to see what they said in their ruling.
Yeah.
But that is such a tough call to make.
It is. That's why I wanted to discuss it, to see what everybody kind of.
What I think they're battling with, it's a big battle, is she, because of the test? See, because your gender is determined by your hormones, right?
Chromosomes.
No, your
But also the level of testosterone, not your gender. Sorry, not your gender.
Not your gender.
No,
not your gender.
But they don't allow. Let's say you're in what do you call it? Any sport, male, female, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. They don't allow you to have certain levels of unnatural stuff in you because it'll give you that
advantage.
She just has it.
That's right.
She just has it occurring. Yeah. If I had to decide.
And so what do you do? Where do you place her? She can't run with.
If I had to decide, I would rule that she be allowed to continue in her current form and just compete with women, and they're just gonna have to step up because I don't. Something that is naturally occurring, she has no control. I mean, she has control only if she uses some drugs.
Right. It's not necessarily an unfair advantage, is it? Right. It's not unfair.
I mean, she has an advantage.
She has an
not
advantage.
Not an unfair advantage. You're absolutely correct. She has an advantage. She has an advantage.
Man, I wish I could find that article that they listed all of the things that.
But I can't penalize her for her body being the way it is.
But that is what the whole. That's what it's all about. is the IAAF discriminating kind of against something that she absolutely has zero control over. And
I guess they take it from the perspective of not really discriminating against her, but wanting to level the playing field as much as possible. You know, you can't level the playing field if Rogan decides to practice, train more than Candy. And Candy decides she doesn't want to do that. But if Rogan has something that just naturally gives her a competitive advantage, just naturally occurring, it's a little different. I don't know.
I tend to agree with that.
What's that?
It's just what it is. The thing is, she's an anomaly to where she isn't, because everyone who is a winner has an extra little thing. Like
right.
Said,
I mean, they tried to
but she, I
test
think, but in her case,
because they were like, he's just too fast.
But I think in her case, she has an extreme of it. It's not like, because everyone who is the champion is something different than them. Yeah. But I've seen her run, man. I've seen her races.
Yeah. She's
way out in front of that man.
I
but you see
look at a picture of her. What
the name is? I need to see.
Well, yes,
she's. I can't watch that.
But if you see
that's the condition.
So that's an unusual situation.
So I think they're just trying to level the playing field.
I know, but you know what I just don't like though, it's kind of singling that out. Even when Usain was dominating, we have to. Wasn't it some sort of deal about what his diet eating cassava?
You mean Usain Bolt?
Yes, and he's too fast, and we have to double check why he's this fast. But it's okay, he also is he's got some advantages that work for him.
Yeah.
But they tested him.
I think because of history. And seeing so many people who have won races and then later it was revealed that they were using steroids and that sort of thing, it just makes people a little bit more critical. And in an effort to be more cautious, they'll just say, let me go and check it out. They do it with Phelps.
I never heard Phelps being under scrutiny like that.
But you even have doctors that are speaking out in support of her, saying that they don't agree with the organization and wanting her to take drugs to lower, so she could be on a level playing field. It isn't fair.
Yeah.
She is who she is.
Right. And some things just aren't level.
Yeah. Well,
unfortunately,
it's unfortunate, but I don't. I don't agree with giving her the option. I guess the only options are for her not to run, which of course she doesn't want to do that. But I don't agree with them mandating that if you want to participate in this race, you gotta take these drugs.
Well, it would be interesting to see what the next steps are going to be, because she's lost the appeal, and that's what it is. So that's going to be interesting. That's your whole life.
Tough, man.
That's your life,
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, and they had the guy the other day from South Africa who had the leg, and people didn't want him to run because he had an artificial leg.
Right.
The one who ended up.
He wanted to run in the regular Olympics.
He ran in the regular
I'm
Olympics.
sorry,
but they were debating whether or not that leg was actually giving him an advantage.
Except he lost.
I think he came second or third in the race. I'm not sure.
No. What,
in the Olympics? Didn't he? He got a medal, right?
What is his name?
Oscar Pistorius.
Didn't he get a medal? No.
I remember watching a race and he
lost
badly.
I don't
know if he did.
Let me see.
Yeah.
He lost badly.
So they say
what's going on with him now, though? Anyway.
Well, he's
in jail, right?
Jail or acquitted or got off on appeal or something. I don't know. Who knows? Situations are trippy. Yeah.
But I mean, for the listeners, if you want to look up her case, her name is Caster Semenya, Castersemenya, Caster Semenya. It's a really, really interesting case.
It's one of those See, so because they had a scenario where there was a woman who was it Dr. Renee Richards? You remember the tennis player? She became a woman. It was a man who became a woman.
Right.
And they allowed her to play in the tennis world.
Yeah. Well, this isn't to be confused with, she's not transgender.
She's not transgender, right.
Right.
I was going to ask about that portion of it. I mean, just kind of moving on from that. So that's been a question that's been posed for a number of years now. Now that there's transgender issues are taking center stage, whether someone who transitions into a male who transitions into female, whether they should be allowed to compete in a race with a biological female,
Right.
And now, the thought process on that. With
these regulations, if they're willing to take that medication to lower their testosterone levels to compete, I'm sure, because I think when you transition, you are already on medication, right? You're already on
you're estrogen and all that stuff.
So I would assume that, you would fall within those parameters.
All right, we got to take a break. We'll come back. Our guest, Dario Torelli, isn't here yet. Maybe he's still recovering from Carnival. But we'll talk about Carnival until he gets here. We'll be right back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Fields here along with Rogan Smith and Candelaria Thompson, niece Sumner, the curryless one.
No, you curryless. I go ahead.
Actually, that was good.
You powderless. Anyway.
This big tank.
Listen, sorry, I sent Ed a picture, right, of my oxygen tank, water bottle, compared to my sister's.
Yeah.
Hers is bigger than that?
Twice the size.
You lie.
Man, I had to send that to Ed. I was like, you think he's crazy.
Yeah.
I said, we out here dehydrated.
I mean, it's ridiculous, man.
We thirsty.
Y'all thirsty.
It's ridiculous. All right, but listen, talking about Carnival.
You going, Gab?
Yeah,
I want to focus first, and then we can talk about, because you wrote a very good column on it as well, from the Christian Council side of things. But there's a whole range of things, and you know what? Just like everything else, every year. By the way, this conversation happens in Trinidad and other places every year too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Every year, about they have the vulgar, and then they got the money and where the money goes. It's the same thing.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, big time.
I thought you were past that because Carnival's been going on.
No, they're not questioning why I have Carnival, but it's always like some, but the judges doing them and all them thing. I can't talk Trinidad. And then because they spent hundreds of millions of dollars, TT, on well actually they spent about 70-80 million US on Carnival.
That's a lot.
I mean it's a lot of money.
That's a lot.
But when Perry Christie introduced the concept of Carnival to the Bahamas. And I actually believe originally it was flawed because it was designed really to accommodate one or two people, which was not, ever going to work. That the whole intent was to add to our offerings. Now, just to show you how, right now, while Carnival was going on, that same weekend, the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival was going on. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of weird timing. But anyway, which goes straight, they're not even trying to bring no one here. But anyway, the whole point was to create another event thing here that would draw visitors. Put heads in beds at a relatively slow time. Granted, we're not going through a slow time right now. Mm-hmm. But put heads in beds at a relatively slow time. Add to the economy. Yeah. Okay? There was also another intent, and I have to give Mr. Freddie Munnings Jr. In terms of his stickability, kudos for it because it was about developing Bahamian music. Mm-hmm. Bahamian music has been in the doldrums for a while, and that is not to decry or to belittle those who have been making their mark in music, but as a huge thing when you think about Jamaica. Reggae, Trinidad, soca. Mm-hmm. To try to get Bahamians on the scene. And by the way, you think about what we have done in sports, okay? So Bahamians are more than capable of being on a global stage in anything. Mm-hmm. But you have to have the right mechanisms in place, okay? No one's just coming here to check it out, okay? Yeah. So when you say Jamaica, reggae, Trinidad, soca, Bahamas, Atlantis. I mean, I'm just saying that's the thing. It's not Junkanoo or Rake and Scrape. No. And so the idea originally was develop a marketing strategy that would bring people here so that they could become exposed to what we have. You had partners like Sony who would then help to develop a Bahamian sound, a combination of whatever sort of thing. to get
to develop
when I say no.
Bahamians
when they say develop in the music industry, I don't mean for them to come up with it, but for the Bahamian musicians to start formulating a sound that would promote and develop. There's a development process, right, of production and all that sort of thing, right? So, for instance, there was a song, and it's my favorite song called "Dig Up the Road."
Oh my God, Van Sean.
Right.
Amazing song.
Okay. Now that song, any Trinidadian will tell you would have probably won maybe the road march in Trinidad.
Can I say something to that point?
Yeah.
There were people on YouTube that thought she was from Trinidad.
Trinidad, right.
And they were like, oh my God, how come they didn't hear this on, in their
right.
Yeah.
And it had a
Bahamian
Junkanoo element, right?
Yeah.
It had a different
it was
sound
wonderful.
than what you would hear in Trinidad. Now, had the government, and I'm saying it, put it on the line, had the government not just interfered, we had a marketing plan that would have allowed that song to come out somewhere in November in the previous year to Carnival. You do that, the song then becomes popular locally, Christmas. Then it becomes popular because the thing about Carnival in Trinidad is they're not closed-minded. They welcome music from all of the islands into their Carnival.
Really?
Yeah. So you see, Sparrow is not from Trinidad,
Where is he from? Grenada?
Grenada. Okay,
you
have musicians from Jamaica, Byron Lee and all those from Jamaica, people from Barbados. So they don't, St. Lucia, Antigua, they welcome any type of music once it gets into the playing repertoire, right? And so it Dig Up the Road, and they had Trinidadian producers here who said, man, if this song had been released earlier, this would have been on the road march. And so you get what's her name? Franchon. Onto that circuit, right?
Yeah.
She becomes popular, and then you know what happens next? She starts appearing in carnivals all over Europe, all in Toronto, New York, Atlanta, Miami, and so that song becomes popular, like how Marshall is.
Oh God.
Okay, and then that's the world stage. Then people start coming because they want to hear that. Okay, that was the intent. And the politics of it just sickens me when you think about how, and I'm going to reveal something to people that they may or may not have heard. If I said it before, I'll say it. The budget for Carnival, the first Carnival, was approved by Cabinet in my presence. And the plan of bringing in an international entertainer as a part of the marketing strategy to attract the media here and people here was approved by Cabinet in my presence. And that's what was so sickening, is how once we then had that approval and then went to execute it, how they just all floundered like little because and I'm going to be honest, because one or two musicians made noise. Well, you don't lead that way.
Yeah, agreed. 100%.
And as a result, we end up with nothing. Okay, and so that whole plan went to whack. And I bring that up, Rogan, because I say, we have Carnival, and I'm a big supporter of things like this. I have no issue with it.
I know you do.
But what's now the intent? It can't just be. Well, it can be.
Maybe just to
because
attract international participants.
Because it's all private now, right? So it's not government money, so no one can complain about anything.
Yeah.
But it's got to be, you want people to bring. I don't see Bahamian music developing, for instance, in this new
because
mode.
They're not doing the
Music
Masters anymore. They didn't do it last year.
No, they did it for 2 years.
First 2
years, and that's it.
Yeah, I thought that was an incredible part of it, honestly.
I mean, you remember the lead-ups with the reveals and everything?
I thought that was so good. And then releasing all the music videos and stuff,
right.
It really just gave artists a great platform.
For me, I couldn't believe how quickly Carnival rolled up. Because you didn't hear of anything happening leading up to. I mean, there was one or two, right?
You're supposed to have a situation where, and again, I go to Trinidad because I'm simply. Right. Okay. Do you know the music is so prolific? DJs refuse to play last year's songs.
Right.
They refuse. They may be the greatest song in the world. But
where's this in
Trinidad, right? There's so much music.
Because there's so much new music.
They just refuse to play that old, it's old hat, okay, and it's good stuff, and that's why those people are making millions of dollars.
Yeah, but you have those artists who are constantly churning new music, though. They're not, and I think that's where we sort of Well, that's not for every. That's just not every Bahamian artist, because you have Bahamian artists who are constantly putting out new music.
Yeah.
But you have some who will say, "Oh, I put out a hit a couple of years ago, and then that's it." But like in the carnival scene in Trinidad, it's like every year something new. What's new? What's new? What's new?
Because it's because their music.
By the time you get on
because
they
have the incentive until you get people. See, there are people in Trinidad, young men and women in Trinidad, who are saying, you know what? I want to be like Destra. I want to be like Machel. I want to be like. I want to be like these people. And you know why they want to be like them? Because they're earning a living.
Yeah.
Okay? So until we get to the point where we are able to get our artists to that level, then unfortunately people aren't motivated to do it. They'd rather write rap music, which they think they have a greater chance of hitting the same.
Hold on, but to that point though, one of the things, now I will always say, I think Fan Sean just destroyed it for me. Like, it was just amazing how great our song was. And that's in 2 years how they came up with that stuff. I really, really love that song. I wish I could talk to her to find out even how she even got around to that, right?
Let's dig up the road and carry on back. Which is double kind of entendres, because it's Bahamian.
But it sounded Bahamian, and that's the point I'm about to make to you. Right. There were other artists who took part in that Music Masters where... I mean, it just sounded like it was Trinidadian or Trinidadian. Yeah. And to me, it was like, what's your identity?
Like, where was the accent?
What you're talking about, dig up the road. When we say the road. Things like that bothered me.
I'm agreeing with you, but what I'm saying is, look, we had, for instance, one of the reasons why that song won, and I knew it would win from the way out, is because you had rules. And if the other songs didn't comply with those rules in terms of what it sounded like in the Bahamianization of it and all that, then it doesn't win. But you get 100 songs produced, and you might get 5-6 songs that are good quality songs. But the thing is, if she was successful, you know what would have happened? Others would have followed in that trend. You see what I'm saying? But the song just vanished. I mean, I don't even know if that's in the playlist. Is it? Okay, yeah. So the song vanished, but imagine if that had been global. Like, say, Who Let the Dogs Out and all that kind of stuff.
That would have been absolutely global, because it was a great song.
It was a great song.
And it sounded Bahamian to me.
And it had all kind of Bahamian implications, because we like to dig up the road.
I know, right?
But it also means it also had implications for carrying on bad on the road, right? So it's a universal song that people would have enjoyed.
Just got chilled on my
and so this is the thing, and I'm hoping. And this is where entrepreneurial spirit comes to play again.
Thanks for hanging with us.
Is if someone comes along, and even if the name Music Masters is owned by the government commission, the Carnival Commission, the Festivals Commission, and someone maybe buy the rights to it, or come up with a new name.
Yeah, but just have
something that will produce and incentivize. It was a $20,000 prize.
That's
the winner.
A huge incentive.
Was it 20 or 50? I can't remember.
20 grand.
20 grand for the first prize, which in our context is big. Okay, and that would have only gotten bigger over the years, right? Because as more and more people buy the music, as they start to, listen, you want people like Fan Sean. And I don't know why I don't remember, because I picked that song from day one.
Like a fan of Sean.
When that, if you want people like Fan Sean to be as big as Machel.
And she could be.
Now, of course, she's chosen to go another direction in life. She's, I think, decided not to be in secular music.
Wow.
Okay.
Well,
that's her choice, right? But the point I'm making, look at Lady E. Lady E is a pure
another one of my favorites.
Product of Carnival.
This Erica Simonette.
She was around, because she played with what's his name, Ira, right? But she is a product of Carnival,
amazing.
Bahamas.
She's amazing.
Okay, so you had people who people never even saw before who came out and produced music. So I just before I came on talked to Freddie, because we're going to be doing something together in the summer. But Freddie Munnings, that was his thing. He wanted to see Bahamian music, and we had Sony on board. And they would have taken, just how they promoted Bahaman, they would have taken those songs. Because you know what? It's money for them.
Yeah.
It ain't no altruism.
I know. It's not altruistic
we love Bahamians. No.
It's a money-making tool.
They looking around for what could be the next big thing.
Yes.
And imagine if they could have taken that all around the Caribbean, all around Central America, as a new sound. There are not a lot of new sounds.
But you know what? Again, if you talk about a new sound is not soca.
No. But that Dig Up the Road had a little bit more than soca in it.
No. I say that stands out to me because it sounded Bahamian to me.
Exactly.
It sounded Bahamian.
It was a fusion.
It was
musics.
a wonderful fusion. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I do not want to hear a Bahamian singer try to package a song that is so overwhelmingly soca-ish.
Yeah, that would have been the new
music.
sound. That would not have been the new sound for Sony because the sound already exists. That might have been a new artist, but it was not a new sound. Because obviously a Bahamian artist is free to be an opera singer if he wishes to.
Or pop or rock or rap or whatever.
But we were interested in developing, and by the way, there was another element of the carnival that is completely vanished called Junkamania. And I know it sounds, kind of juvenile, but you had junk orchestras, and they were developing a whole new genre with. I mean, we went from in the first year, Rogan, of 5 or 6 Junkamania groups to the next year, the following year, something like 13.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw them, but these were big groups on the stage, and they were creating another art form. It was just had a wonderful potential.
Let me ask you, do you think since the launch of Carnival, this is now the 5th year, that it's been significantly watered down at this point?
Let me put it to you this way. And I'm going to say this, and I hope it doesn't sound self-serving. Rogan Smith, Noel Nichols, Freddie Munnings, and I sat in my office one day, and what we tried to do was to create something Bahamian by looking at a format of another place, right? So what we did, we acquainted Junkanoo with steel pan, something that is indigenous in their context, that not everyone can take part in because you have to practice, you have to know what's going on. Junkanoo, same thing. We took Junkamania to create a kind of musical version of Junkanoo and what it could present. And again, you don't know where it's going to go. And we call it Junkamania. We took what they call in Trinidad the Road March. We call it Road Fever here. And we took what they call Soca Monarch, and we call it Music Masters. Okay, we didn't use soca in anything in music. Okay, now we then wanted to add an element of the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, which is a music festival, and Carnival, and blend them together. So when people came here, they could see our whole entire gamut of the culture, rake and scrape, our food, our art.
Just cultural immersion.
Just cultural immersion. And where they could come here and see some rake and scrape because we had it on different stages. And so maybe they become so enamored with it that they come back for Rake and Scrape Festival in Cat Island. Or someone sees our fashion or our design or whatever, and just before you know it, you talk about the Elevation Awards and how that seeks to celebrate the creative community.
Yes.
Well, this was helping. We were hoping to nurture the creative community in terms of our culture or our cultural community. And it has been watered down because that Music Masters element is gone. No one's producing music for Carnival, Bahamas Carnival.
Yeah. Which is so sad.
The Junkamania thing has vanished. Okay. The Junkanoo, Rake and Scrape element in Carnival has vanished. So basically you're left with the Road March, which essentially is all soca. I mean, they had married the Garland and other music on the road, right? But it's not. It's a party, and hey, more power to the people. Love it. But
if you're talking about advancing a cause or at least giving exposure, that element is gone.
I had so much, and I tell you, a guy like Freddie Munnings. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, our scheduled guest, Mr. Torelli, must have gone down the wrong route on the Carnival march to the show. So we'll carry it from here. But by the way, I want to just preview Israel Johnson, who's coming on Thursday. I don't know. I forget the word I described him as the first time I met him. I know, but he's certainly an enigma in that he doesn't fit any mold. He's a boxer, and he's you have a certain view of what a boxer's mold is, but then he's got this passion for collecting Bahamian historical artifacts. I mean, he's got coins and stamps and letters from the Duke of Windsor, pictures and just, you know, just obscure stuff that he thinks, amazing. You know, that he just, and he spends an inordinate amount of time collecting this stuff and going around the world and talking with collectors. You know, in fact, he and I had a weird conversation when he first came in to see me, because he had all this stuff, and I said, you know, if you're going to want to make any kind of presentation, you've got to create a catalog. You can't just say, I got stuff. People want to see what you have, see your catalog, see the provenance. He said, well, what you know about provenance? I said, well, you know, I watch a little roadshow antique.
Yeah, that's your show.
That's my show. So he and I kind of hit it off. That's really good.
And you say he's under 30?
He's under 30, yeah.
That's amazing.
30, yeah. And when you see him, you go, yeah, I'm not seeing him as a collector of you know, he's built guy, you know, he's a built strong guy, you know, boxer, you know, I wouldn't want him to hit me. But anyway, it's going to be an interesting show to have him on. I've known him for a couple of years.
That's awesome.
But going back to Carnival, so anyway, this is my thing, and I leave it by saying, you know, I'm hoping that someone will come along who sees not only the possible profitability of it, because it can be profitable, but the nation
building aspect.
Yeah, the nation building aspect, the cultural side of it, enhancement. Yeah, you know, we are searching. You know, and culture isn't static. Okay, there's no reason why music, a new genre. You know, Bob Marley. People think reggae was inherently Jamaican. There was a form of music called ska before Rake and Scrape. I don't know if you heard of it.
Yeah, I have.
But Bob Marley and his folks were in the studio, and by accident, someone did chicka with the guitar. By accident. And once they heard that, they decided to develop that sound. It wasn't nothing Jamaican about it. It's just a sound that they developed, and so it became synonymous with Jamaica reggae. So
you know, it's not static, but there are some crucial ingredients that I would hope that people don't just toss by the wayside in favor of just bringing in outside influences. You know what I mean? And
it's new. Whatever it is new. When I say static, so again, I know what you're saying. You can't just bring, say, curry and curry to conch and say, okay, that's Bahamian.
Precisely.
Okay? I mean, you know what I'm saying? But you might come up with a twist of curry that nowhere else has curry, because there are curries all around the world. There are curries all around the world that are different.
Yeah.
You know? So you'll know. You know what? You'll know. Mm-hmm. When you hear it, or when you taste it, or when you smell it, or when you see it, you'll know.
I think, it has, again, it has to have certain ingredients where it has to feel and sound authentically, to me, Bahamian, but elevated.
And it can't be forced. Like I always say, you know, when you see the Miss Bahamases and they go to Miss Universe and they say the national dress. No, we don't wear C-fans.
See, and this is why we probably need. We had this conversation a couple of years ago. We had the same.
That's not. You know, it's not like.
What is what would you say is a national dress?
We don't have one.
Yeah, but they got to say something at the show.
I know you do, but what I'm saying is, listen, when Holland goes to Tingham, they wear the same national dress, okay?
It can't
it's the clogs and the thing.
But we know what we need to establish some national things and stick with it.
But one year it's trying, another way you're wearing a flamingo hat.
Last time it
can't be a flamingo hat.
The last time we talked about this, we said we need to put this to the people, right? Because what is our national dish?
Our national dish. I think we know what our national dish is.
What
peas and rice, potato salad.
Starch.
Starch. Okay, Niagara. These are Niagara folks. But the point is,
you
can't go to.
Yes, you can.
To Miss Bahamas, right? Miss Universe with a flamingo hat.
Yes, you can.
No, because no one's walking around with a cowboy hat.
Let me tell you something.
A cowboy hat.
You can in the absence of a national anything.
Yeah, of course you can. But I'm saying it's not it. No one's wearing. No one.
I ain't criticizing
it. Listen to me. What I'm saying to you, Rogan Smith. No one else wearing the flamingo hat.
Who makes a determination about what is the national what?
It's something that it's identified with you as a country. So, for instance, Jamaica, dreadlocks. Okay.
What is the national dress?
I don't know. Maybe a bush jacket. I don't know. Okay.
A bush jacket.
Okay, but the point I'm making is
we need like a conch shell, something.
You know, so for instance, in Africa, Nigeria, right? Where they got that thing, the swirl with the women is behind the head.
I don't know what it's called, but we need to talk with the council.
Okay, but you know the big thing they wear to the weddings. And the colorful cloth.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what you call it.
No one's going around with a zebra hat. Anyway,
we need to figure it out. We need to figure this out.
We're going to have a discussion on this.
No, for real. Because, so we could just establish
I always thought like Androsia as a casual thing. Androsia was our national material.
That's what I
and you could make a whole range of stuff with that and use that as a national material.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh boy, we need to establish some stuff.
Get it together. So Bahama hand prints, we get some good stuff. Go.
So when the folks go away to the pageants, we know what we're dealing with. So no, I just wanted to in the final 8 minutes of our show, just turn the attention to the controversy that led up to Carnival, which typically does.
Really?
I mean,
it's always just a thing.
I don't know. It's just a thing because I mean, I think it's controversial. I think
everything is controversial, right?
Well, let's just say
it's conversational.
The thing that set tongues wagging.
Yeah.
Okay.
The discussion.
The discussion that ensued in the run up to
or preceded.
That's right. Thank you. That preceded the carnival. And I'm talking about the conversation from the statement from the Bahamas Christian Council and the fallout, I suppose, in the following days. You know, there are lots of people who just were really frustrated. They felt like the council again was overstepping its boundaries.
That's what they do. Scorpion stings, Christian Council, Christians.
You know, I don't have a problem with the council speaking up. I don't know how you feel about it. I don't know how Ken feels about it, right?
I don't have a problem with them speaking up.
To me, that is what the council. I would feel funny if the council didn't speak up and say what they had to say. I just don't want them
to. I think that they can speak their opinion about it because everyone is free to do that. But I don't think that their opinion should thwart it.
No.
That's, you know what I'm saying?
No.
But you're free to speak your opinion.
You're free to speak your opinion, and and people are free to say they don't subscribe to it or they don't
support it.
They don't support it.
Right.
But this whole dialogue about the council needs to shut up. They don't know what they. I mean, I don't support that.
But people are free to say that, though.
Yeah,
but they're free to say that.
That's fine, and I'm free to say that I don't support that
exactly.
either because
so
it's both
free
sides.
To say.
Everybody's free to say whatever, and I think at the end of the day, there needs to still be a listening on both sides of it. The council needs to listen to why people are participating. Mm-hmm. There are folks who take part in this event who are good, decent folks, and they just want to have a good time. And there are people on the route who aren't so decent.
Well, listen, you can have your listeners.
And the council is right about that as well.
You can have your listeners and you can have your haters, right? But I want to ask you another question. You know, there's a uniqueness about Bahamians, okay? And the uniqueness I find, and I'm going to apply it to this, right, is that we seem to do things kind of like on the extreme. So, and it's probably not a fair thing to say, but I look at, say, for instance, when I was growing up, you had the proms. You go to prom. And now, you have these prom things, and we got the whole thing now.
It's like a wedding.
It's just way out of hand. We're good at copying, but we want to be the best. We want to copy the best, like we is the best. I think when it comes to, and I'm going to concede this point, I'm not sure, but I think when it comes to being lewd, no, that's not fair. All right, carnival, obviously there's a lot of flesh. There's a lot of whining, okay?
There's a lot of lewdness
right.
as well.
No, let me, I can tell you.
Mm-hmm.
When I go to Trinidad Carnival, and I've been many, 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 many years, I don't know, and maybe I'm missing it, so I'm not discounting it. I don't know if I think we graduated real quick to level 10, where they still maybe at levels 8. There's things I see, right?
On the route
that I have not seen in other places. Now, I'm not saying they don't exist, because they probably do, and they may. But I think we have we gone out our way. And, Candy made a point, that we're so repressed as a country. Maybe they just gone to the extreme to say, this is what I could get away with now, or something. I don't know. And so I don't believe in just going nasty.
I think there's a great deal of lasciviousness on the route.
You know what I'm saying?
And I don't even know if it's necessary.
Yeah, it's listen, nothing wrong with a little wine, little, but
I mean, when you're simulating sex on the route, I mean, this is one of the reasons why I don't go to Carnival, right? I'm happy to support it. I believe people have the right to go out there and do whatever they want to do. I don't want to see that.
You can whine, you can shake, you can all that, but the whole there are, listen, and it may get to the point, and maybe you need to do this. I don't know, and I'm shocked that I'm even saying it. That some line is determined.
There needs to be.
And then someone is doing it, they pull them off the route.
Yeah.
Just to say, you know what, that ain't for, there are kids out here.
I've seen
a little wine, what you do, wine on it and all that kind of thing. You know what I mean, Ken?
About a year or two ago, I remember seeing a WhatsApp video of a woman who pulled her already scanty bikini bottom, pulled it to the side. And so you're seeing her stuff. Now, that's not, she doesn't reflect everybody on that route. There are people who are on there who are very decent and they have a good time. They can shake up and do whatever. I'm not a prude, you know what I mean? I don't have these prudish, a prudish mindset.
That's not, it's not necessary.
But that is just
it's
like,
not
what
necessary.
Are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Or the guys coming up behind them. I mean, you might as well just pull your pants down and do what you got to do because, I mean, that's what you're doing anyway.
Listen, my line is the whole wind up on your thing is not a big deal for me. But why and what purpose does it serve to pull your
to the side?
No, there's no purpose.
Or your friend who I showed you on earlier.
Yeah. So, and we know the line. Yeah, everyone knows the line.
Most people know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are people who are on that route who are saying, look at this fool.
Yeah, because they only making it bad for them.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Anyway, it's another year. I'm sure we'll have the convo.
Next year.
And
the year after. And the year after.
And I think, one thing I'm happy to see is that people, listen, it should be a day set aside a year where, and I don't know what 50, 60 years from now, no one will remember how this came to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it'll probably be a holiday by then.
You're right.
But it's a Saturday. Because most carnivals happen in the middle of the week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Tuesday. Because they have a reason. It's Ash Wednesday. See, we just invent some stuff. Carnival is a European thing.
But I like it being on a Saturday because
people
I
can go and watch
the
it.
Friday, the weekend of activities.
Right.
I think that's
But you have to understand
nice.
and how it works and how it came about. Carnival came about as a European Christian environment that you did all of this bacchanal prior to Lent. Okay? This was all the lead up to Lent.
Get all the sinning out.
Get all the sinning out, the bacchanal, carnival, sins of the flesh, and all that. Okay? And then when Lent hit, boom. That's what it's a European. This is no Trinidad. This is a European festival. You go to Europe, you'll see some of the. In fact, I want on my bucket list to go to some of those big European carnivals. Floats that as long as this street. I mean, it's amazing in terms of the construction and stuff.
I like being around people like that.
But it's just an amazing spectacle, right? So they had purpose for it. We just decided on it, and our purpose was to bring visitors here. Valid purpose. Now it's just a party.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's good to see people out on the sidelines of all strata having a good time. Now they got tents set up on the road and
I saw
bleachers and skywalks and
well, it's good for the
grilling.
Vendors too. I give them their props. The vendors can make some money.
I saw one tent they had tables and chairs.
Was this passing like almost a Paul track? Yeah, I saw it too.
Yeah,
so that looked like wedding.
Yeah, like wedding. I know with the little table wrap. One thing.
I saw it the night before.
Yeah. But anyway, hopefully next year Mr. Torelli will be able to make it. Maybe we'll have to do a week after so he can catch himself. But congratulations, so I didn't hear of any major issues.
I heard that there was a bit of a delay at the beginning.
Yeah, I'm talking like fights.
Yeah, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So and the other side, and I'll leave it with this. I always say, maybe if you have something like this, all of that pent up frustration and anger and all that, maybe this is a way to just let it all loose. That's what it was all about anyway. In the original Carnival. You got to look that word up.
Carnival time again.
So Rogan Smith, thank you for coming. I hope Wesley gets better. I'm sure. I'm confident that he will.
I have the faith
because
that he will.
what's her name? Illy can bring him back to speed.
You know what? Shout out to my beautiful mother, Illinois, who is an extraordinary. I have to say that she's an extraordinary woman. And she clearly took those vows very seriously because she really is there through sickness and in health. So
there you go.
I tip my hat to you.
All right.
I tip my hat to you.
All right, Wesley, get well.
Thank you. We'll see you guys on Thursday.